Welcome back to Just Keep Parenting, everybody. Glad you could join us today. We're going to be talking about organization and chaos, the process of development, right? If you're just joining us new, it's from Easy to Love, Difficult to Discipline by Becky Bailey. And last week we talked a lot about why children do what they do, right? So like that development of misbehavior. Children are born to misbehave, right? They have to figure it all out. That's part of the learning process. That's part of the growing process. As annoying as it is to us as adults, right? It's nice to know that different things are normal, right? So today we're going to continue and we're going to talk about, so we know that this is annoying and we know that this is typical, right? Oh, it's just a stage. If they don't get out of the stage, then we have to look into something further, right? So organization and chaos, the process of development. So it's important for us to remember that stages of chaos precede stages of organization. Think about it in your own life, right? Those of you who have been with me for a while recognize that my office has been cleaned out. The spring term, summer term is a time for me to kind of reorganize and get out of the chaos, right? And so you can see now I'm starting to prepare for the fall semester. So I've got a little bit more chaos going on, but that's part of who we are as humans, right? Is we have this stages of chaos that precede stages of organization. So if we think about a business, right, that grows, how do you do that? Right? You grow a little bit and then you're like, oh gosh, people are liking what we have to offer. So then we have get chaotic again and then we have to organize and we grow, right? We have more customers, meaning we need more product. And that's kind of like children, right? Going back to the stage, it's just a stage, right? I often refer to this with my teachers as it's disequilibrium. Right? We've come to this point where it's like, this is so nice. And then all of a sudden chaos starts and the kids are trying to figure it out, right? And so sometimes they say things, if it's a language thing, they'll say things like, yeah, I run so fast today, right? They're in that disequilibrium stage of knowing that ED sounds like I'm in the past, but I don't really know how to use it, right? And because of our sweet English language that it should be run, it's not, right? And so just following up with, yeah, you ran so fast today, right? So not saying to them, oh, that's not how you do it, sweetie, that's not how you say it, but just giving them that, yes, you did, you ran so fast, that modeling, right? So when children are moving from one stage to another, there's chaos, and then consequently for them, and for us, right? And we may want to say things like, I know you know better. What the heck are you doing this for, right? And that's only going to make him feel worse, right? And so we have to remember, okay, this is a stage. Yes, I know child development states that there is chaos before the organization comes, right? So we just have to hang tough because this disorganized state will be followed by a period of relatively calm, organized behavior, which more advanced skills are present. And that's how childhood is. That's how human growth goes, right? And so these cycles occur. Those of you who have been parents before, these cycles occur about every 6 months, right? Starting at about 15 months old. Think about our own lives, right? Same cycles every 6 months. I love to clean out a closet. I love to clean out a medicine cabinet. I love to clean out something. I was visiting with a friend of mine the other day and she said she makes that part of her monthly organization feat is she cleans out a closet once a month because as kids are in it, as she's in it, it just gets chaotic, right? And so that's a little too much for me. I like the 6-month cycle, right? And so we know these stages are normal for development and higher organization, right? But we can't predict them for each child, right? We also can't predict how the child will break up or how smoothly the reorganization will go. We can't predict any of that, even though we can predict that these are normal and they are going to happen, right? So because individuals are different, right, we know that we're going to see variations in in children's, even though we know they develop at a certain rate, we're going to see these variations. The other thing that affects this is a child's inborn temperament, right? Some of us deal with chaos a little bit better than others. Some of us are more chill than others. Some of us, I was visiting with a friend last night at dinner, and she said that we were talking about her firstborn and how she was breech, and then she had to have a C-section, even though she'd been laboring for so long, right? And she looked at her husband and she said, I think this is what we're in for, right? And that little girl is just, she's got a lot of fire in her, right? And a lot of good leadership skills, right? But that inborn temperament makes a difference in how they're going to move through these stages. So we can assume that internally a great deal is happening because of this disorganization, right? So as you're going through that stage, calm yourself and say, okay, this is just this. I can imagine that there's a lot going on in here that they don't understand yet, right? But as they come through it, we're going to have higher order skills that are there, right? So as people grapple with new concepts and new information, they're trying to find equilibrium. Think about a new job that you've had. Think about a new home, right? As you go, I remember when I moved into this home 16 years ago, I had a great place for my my dinnerware, right? Well, about a week into it, every time I opened the dishwasher, I couldn't reach the cupboard because the dishwasher was open, and so I had to put it onto the counter and then close the dishwasher and put it up. And I thought, this is crazy, right? That disequilibrium that we do with anything in our life. And so as we, as adults, figure out how to work through this disequilibrium, the children don't know how to work through that, right? They don't have the skills yet. So they're in this inward, I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. That causes the chaos. And then whoop, we step up, right? So as the children are in it, right, it reduces their ability to cooperate because they got lots going on. Think about yourself. New job, new city. You got a lot of stuff going on that sometimes you don't share with others, but internally there's a lot of stuff going on. The kids are doing that. We're choosing typically not to share, but sometimes kids don't know that sharing, or let's see, feedback and brainstorming helps with that, right? So I can tell you that I'm more grumpy when I have things on my mind. Yesterday was a grumpy day for me because I had a lot of stuff going on internally that had happened, and so I had to figure out how to process that and move on, right? I feel much better after a night's rest. I feel much better after spending some time thinking about it and figuring it out, that internal piece, right? So as we think about irritation points, I like to call them hot spots in my classroom. But we aren't born with these buttons, right? We aren't born with these hot spots. We install them, right? As we cling to certain beliefs. This is how children should behave. This is what a child should do when they come to school. This is what a child, we install them because of our belief system. Remember that CD-ROM that we talked about months ago that goes in our brain, right? So we do this when we think that misbehavior equates with disrespect. Think about that again. When misbehavior equates with disrespect, that's how we create those belief systems, right? So we set ourselves up for failure, right, by not recognizing that typical development issues. So we're thinking this 4-year-old's coming in and is being rude, when in reality, wait a minute, where are they in that struggle? Where are they in that chaos? Where are they in that? Are they coming out, or are they still in that internal struggle? Where are they in that process, right? And so we set ourselves up for failure, and then we set the kids up for failure when we're not taking it as a typical development issue, and we're taking it as, oh my gosh, this kid is like, he's not old enough. He can't even handle school. He can't even handle what's going on, right? Deep breaths, right? And so as we look on page 219, there are a few warning signs, right, about these hot spots, or these buttons, these what does she call them? Irritation points. But she said, here's the warning. We act like a nut. I was a little bit like that yesterday. I didn't scream or shout, but I did cry a little bit. We bargain, we threaten, we plead, we beg, we spank, we bribe, or we cry. You focus on what is wrong and what your child is not doing, right? Rather than losing that power of attention. Remember, what you get, what you focus on, you get more of, right? You attribute a negative intent, which we've talked about, to our children. She's doing this to get back at me. She's trying to make me have a bad day, right? When you attribute this kind of negative intent to your child, your focus shifts from your child and her developmental journey to yourself and how your child is supposedly trying to upset you, right? We forget that power of love. We blame the child for your upset and try to make her feel bad through guilt, fear, or use of force. You refuse to own your own upset and use the power of perception, right? It is that it is. I can't change this right now. It's happening. You forget the power of acceptance, right? And think of any of the following thoughts. This child should know better than this. I shouldn't have to give constant reminders. She ought to be able to get up and get dressed by this age. I shouldn't have to tell her again. She should do what I say when I say it, right? We've all thought that. We've all said that, right? Wait a minute. Is there disequilibrium going on? Another one, you become alarmed and wonder what happened. What have I done wrong to make my child act like this? Forgetting the power of free will. How can a delightful child 1 month become a monster the next? If she's this bad now, what will her teens be like? By projecting fear into your future, you attempt to feel special through suffering, losing the power of unity that holds everyone together, right? So, one last thought about this as we think about typical development issues, right? And recognizing that we all start in this chaotic piece of land, piece of brain, and we move over to organization, right? And we have more skills when that happens. And so think of our own selves. We have all these wonderful skills as adults. And now we're asking the children, right, to do this because that's typical development for them, but we forget that it's typical development. We forget the stage. We forget that there's chaos before the organization. So as you're struggling with your kids this week, think about it. Is this one of those 6-month cycles? Is this typical development, right? Whew. Do I need to go have a drink of Dr. Pepper? Do I need to go have a walk? Do I need to take a deep breath? What can help me help the child move from this chaotic internalness to the organized, right? And recognize, okay, we can wait another week with this, but I'm going to have to give constant reminders, right, to help them remember. So that's what we're going to do this week. Good luck with it. Typical development issues. Remember, chaos leads to organization. Good luck, everybody. Just keep parenting.